Maybe that's how it is.
As soon as he heard the word beer,
Then somebody said something about food.
Hereby call the special meeting of December 3rd order. Would you all please rise and recite the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Those folks with cell phones, if you would kindly put them on silent. Participate of the meeting, we have the public forum. The council welcomes and encourages the public to speak during the public comment and the public hearing portion of the agenda. However, council policy is to hear the public comment, not to act on the public comment at this time. Concerns brought before the council during the public comment period of the agenda will be referred to the city manager or acting city manager. If after communication with the city manager no resolution is reached, the concern will be elevated to the mayor and then eventually to the council for action. Those citizens wishing to speak on agenda and non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes each to address their concerns. This is the only time during the council meeting that citizens are allowed to address the council. Please state your name and address for the record. At this time, is there anyone wishing to address the council on the public forum? Mr. Ringwood.
Hi there, Dave Ringwood, 95 North Main. I assume there's no public comment on the agenda items as well, correct?
You may address any item not
Later after this is it, right? There are two different things I wanted to touch on. So,
yeah, go.
is there public comment later or not?
Well, I think
first thing, I did bring this up to the acting city manager, but just so the council is aware, we have had three at least that I'm aware of, break-ins of our employee vehicles on the city lot that is located behind Jose's and north of the library there. There's a light fixture there that is not lit, and to my knowledge, I believe the acting city manager has been wonderful in getting the ball rolling on that, but there has been some people over there looking at it. I know the DPW director was over there, and the consumers was over there as well. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, I turned it into consumers. So.
Okay. But it's a security concern for our people. Obviously, we have them walking out there two by two for safety reasons, etc. But we can't. It's obviously a big concern for us. So, and as the downtown hopefully begins to develop, we want to make sure that is safe and secure. Any citizen and any shopper feels comfortable parking there and leaving their vehicle at night when it's dark out. So that was it on that. If we have another time to speak, then I'll defer the rest of my comments until later, but we'll announce it.
Some of it will be the wish of the council, but it would be like limited. Preferably, this is our MML will present their packet tonight.
I'll just briefly run over them quickly, but I do just want to express, obviously, my concern. I'm very hopeful for what is developing here in Cedar Springs. I think we have a wonderful chance at a new beginning on many fronts. And I also believe that our previous city manager was very instrumental, not only in us being here, but a number of the other new businesses that have come and are coming to town. He was instrumental in us being here. I know he played a role in Display Pack being here, which we brought 50+ jobs alone in Display Pack. I think from 80s with Wolverine had to upwards of 250 that are coming to town. Professional connections, vision for the future of this community, I think are both important attributes. Connections to resources that are available to attract new business, I believe are instrumental in that. A facilitator to multiple views, those are all qualities that are very important. I also certainly recommend, from my understanding, what the MML, the services the MML has to offer, in having a professional in place in some and facilitate those attributes and take advantage of the opportunity we have to rebuild the face of this community is vital. We're here, putting on roots, we're here for the long term, but I certainly hope we're not the only ones. And I think this, the face of the community with the new city manager is obviously integral to that continued goal. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to email those attributes to me, and I can
I'd be happy.
include them in the list that I was going to have done before I had a very crazy.
That's fine. I was actually asking which email address is appropriate for you. I think that was
The PamMedfordConnolly@gmail.com.
Medford.
Yep, Pam Medford-Connolly, MEDFORDEONLEY @gmail.com.
Any other person wishing to address? Mrs. Apek.
At APEC, 100 East Muskegon Street, Cedar Street. I'll be very brief. I just want to congratulate you on finally deciding to bring in MNL to help you with the search for a new city manager. I think it's just critical that you had someone to advise you in this complicated process that knows what they're doing. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. That was our intent kind of all along. But go ahead. Anyone else wishing? Hearing none. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Do a roll call. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conley?
Yes.
Mr. Hall votes yes. Backing up, I neglected to take roll call. We have not heard anything from Mr. Truesdale.
But, Mr. Mayor, I can make a motion to excuse him.
Okay.
I'll support that motion. He did say he'd be gone for 2 weeks.
Okay, so moved and seconded in support of excusing Mr. Truesdale. Any discussion? Hearing,
I say I hope he's someplace warm.
hearing none. All those in favor of approving, excusing Mr. Truesdale signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, by the sign no. Hearing none, motion carries. Mr. Truesdale is hereby excused. Moving on, the approval of the agenda has been done. Moving on to item 5, new business. Discussion regarding community input concerning attributes necessary for the new city manager. Anybody wish to speak on that at this time? This will probably be the only time, once we start with the MML program, we would like to move through that. Hearing none.
Okay. Well, hello there. How you doing? Did you get a handout to help follow along on the presentation? Well, then let me do that.
I have one.
It's not pretty.
Thank you. That's okay.
Call. I have 2, so I can loan it to someone else. Oh,
Let me give you that.
thank you. Oh, no.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to a beautiful chamber to talk to you tonight about how the Michigan Municipal League assists its member communities in doing search processes or facilitating search processes for people to hire a member of their executive team. I think the council, the community is certainly, I heard, appreciative of the kind of scrutiny and attention you're paying to the search for a new city manager. And I think the community like Cedar Springs deserves that kind of attention, so you are to be applauded. My name is Kathy Greensinger, and I'm the lead search facilitator for the Michigan Municipal League. You can flip the slide one. There's only a few. There you go. The league is a nonpartisan statewide association driven specifically by its member communities. We're the oldest and one of the best respected associations of our kind doing business in the country. Our focus in search consultancy is exclusively dedicated to our member communities and exclusively dedicated to helping communities put an executive team together. We don't do any other kind of search business. We don't compete with the private sector in headhunting. That's not our job. We only assist locally elected officials in trying to get a good fit. And we do that because first, our member communities asked us to do that in the late 90s. But we do that because we think the executive team and the administrative team working with the council, the departments, the employees, and the community gives us better communities. And when you have better communities, you have a better Michigan. We're very experienced in what we do. We've been doing it for a long time. I think we're up to about 250 searches now. We haven't changed any of the size. And most of, or some of the other communities that we've been working with, I think are listed in the proposal that you may have seen from us that we sent earlier. The league uses only facilitators who are extremely experienced. We come from local government. We speak the same kind of language that you do. We understand the job of a city administrator, a city manager. And we hope that that kind of intimate knowledge helps you get the kind of results that you're looking for. We also use best practices in the human resources field that we tweak and evaluate and change, time changes to make sure that we use the best possible processes and techniques that we can. If you decide, you can flip again. If you decide to hire the league to do, that was when I had really good hair. If you decide to work with the Michigan Municipal League, you will be working with me. I've decided after, I think, spending hours on the phone with Mr. Hall that I just had to come to Cedar Springs, that I have over 30 years in the business and local government. I've held just about every job in the system, except those that would have allowed me to carry a weapon or drive a really big yellow truck, and there are very good reasons that I haven't done neither of those things. But in the last 20 years, I've been an assistant city manager and a city manager in the city of Mount Pleasant, which is just about an hour and a half on some really funky roads. So, I'd like to begin talking to you tonight and sort of walk you through the kind of process that we use. I want to leave as much time as I possibly can for questions. You can ask me any details you want, and you should, because you want to make sure you're comfortable with the kind of process that we use if you're going to hire us, because we have, as I say, evaluated that process and stay pretty close to what we know works. We begin our process by working directly with the department directors and the city council in developing 3 primary profiles that we will use throughout the rest of our search process. By engaging you in an open brainstorming session, we will try to get you to consensus on 3 pictures. We're going to develop a profile of Cedar Springs, one that is marketable nationally, because we will do a national search for Cedar Springs. Please put a note someplace, and I'll tell you why we're going to do that when we get to the edge. We will do a second profile about the corporate culture that exists within this organization. We do that because we believe that a manager is only as successful as those people who are surrounding him or her. And so we need to find out how this organization does business, how you communicate with each other, how decisions are made, how people like to operate, because we're hoping to create a fit, not only in that search profile for the community itself, but within the organization. And finally, we'll work with the council specifically to develop a profile of the ideal candidate. And that will include things like the skills you're looking for, the kind of experience that is required. But we're going to push you a little bit harder on those mushy personality attributes, character kinds of things, because we really feel that a manager and a council must be able to relate to each other like a marriage. And you really have to be able to fit with each other, as well as just have a check-off box on the kind of skills that you're looking for. Because skills can be acquired, personality traits not as easily, right? And every community, every group of elected officials, every organization is unique. And so those profiles have to come from you and not from anything that a facilitator or a headhunter or a search consultant brings you. And those three profiles and some data that we will collect using outside resources and then primarily with the help of the folks at City Hall will form the foundation of everything we do. It'll determine how we handle the outreach process, where we advertise, how we advertise, who we reach out to. It will determine the type of material that supports the advertising or outreach effort. We'll develop a 4-color brochure for you, which will market the community as well as recruit candidates. I will use those profiles to screen all of the resumes that come in for this position. I'll use those profiles to help you establish a set of questions that you use in the interview. We'll use those profiles to conduct our reference review. So what we do at the front end becomes very, very critical. And we do it in a group consensus arrangement because people don't always agree on what they want. So we have to get as close as we possibly can in that brainstorming session. Because likely you're going to ask for a number of skills and attributes that only Jesus Christ has, and he already has a job. So we're going to have to get down to what is the most critical for Cedar Springs. And I'm way ahead of my notes. When you work with the lead, by the way, you're going to get access to our website, which gets that work out on the lead. You will get access to all of the public administrators in the state of Michigan. We keep track of those. You will get access to our social media contacts, and we are going to do a national search for you, so you'll have access to ICMA, which is the International City County Management Association. Let me tell you why we've decided already in the conversations that I had with the mayor that we would do the national search. Frank, the truth is, number one, there's just not a lot of managers in the state of Michigan right now who are willing to move. We've gone through a major recession. During 2008, 9, 10, a lot of managers who considered themselves to be community builders left the state of Michigan. Those of us that were left behind, in a lot of instances, we compressed our wage levels, we compressed our budgets. Managers who are safe or comfortable in other communities aren't moving. There is also just a data-driven demographic. There are a lot of managers who are 55 and older, who are waiting for their 401s to come back. There are a lot of managers who are under 30, and that's just never been lit up. So, other states around the country didn't suffer necessarily like Michigan communities did. So why don't we do a national search in the hope that we can bring people home who have just been waiting for the right community or the right opportunity? And secondly, we're hoping to hit that middle demographic of people who are now willing to move their career in a different place. Right now, somewhere between 47 and 52% of all of our resumes are coming from outside of the state of Michigan. Once all the applications, resumes, cover letters, and stuff come in, they come to me. I will do a screening of all of those folks and balance them against the skills and the attributes that you have looked for. Not only do I screen them, but I will actually personally interview candidates who seem to rise to the top and hit most of your boxes. I will check 1 to 2 references on each of those candidates, and we will also do an online search so that we don't bring you anyone with a potential public embarrassment that somebody else who's Googling knows before you do. That screened list will come to you for review, most likely in a closed session. About 90% of all of our resume applicants request confidentiality. And in the state of Michigan, there's specific legal protection for a public executive who requests confidentiality. We're very, very careful about it. That's one of the reasons we receive the application and the resumes, and they do not come to City Hall so that they cannot be considered public information or employable. If we're not able to guarantee confidentiality, the number of your applicants declines dramatically, because it's one of those kinds of professions where you can be terminated for looking. And Michigan law is very specific to provide those protections. So I'll do all that front-end work for you. Once you see those screened applicants in closed session, we'll make a determination about who you want to interview. I'll take care of inviting those people, and I will draft a series of questions that follows the things you're looking for that you will see ahead of time and can comment on, provide feedback on, and will help you prepare for interview day. The mayor and I the mayor has requested that our proposal be tight and concise. So we're looking at 2 brainstorming sessions, 2 meetings, one with you, one with the directors, and 1 set of interviews. At this point in time, our proposal doesn't include open houses or tours or those kind of things. It is something you may want to do yourself if you determine that that's important to you, or we can look at assisting you and adjusting the proposal. Finally, when you decide after the interviews, through public debate, all interviews are public, by the way, for those of you who've never sat through this process before, that's a requirement under the law, and your discussion about those candidates is held in public, as is your vote. Your vote will be to extend a conditional offer of employment. The word conditional is very important because it allows you to complete some additional due diligence work and withdraw the offer if something pops up in that due diligence that you're unhappy with or concerned about. We will handle the majority of that due diligence. We will do a very thorough background check. We use a third party. We'll do a social security trace. We'll check college transcripts. We'll do a driver's record, a lien, a criminal background, a civil background, and a credit check. Now, the information that's in those reports can't be released under the red flag laws specifically, but I will review them and let you know if there are any concerns or flags or anything in there. The final piece of that due diligence is a deeper background check, deeper reference review. We can talk about whether you want me to do that for you, If you want me to prepare an outline so that you can do that yourself, if you want to have a subcommittee or the chief of police or whomever do that, we'll continue to talk about that as we roll. The final piece is you work out an agreement with if everything in due diligence works out well, you begin to negotiate an employment agreement with your selected candidate. We can consult on that. I can provide you templates. I can assist you. It's generally a good idea if you have a regular attorney or a city attorney that you trust and you're comfortable with, that they're involved in the process. It's a very good idea if only one person plays point on that kind of negotiation. That's the way the process rolls. Takes about 120 days. There's just not a lot of way to get under that. A couple of reasons. One is that you want the ad up, the advertising and outreach, to last at least 4 weeks, because there's conversation that goes back and forth on who might be interested and what they have to do to research your community and make a determination on whether or not they want to come. It takes me about 10 working days to do that extensive interviewing, reference check, and online search. That's another group of time. And then once you decide who you want to interview, we want to give those folks 5, 7, 10 working days to notify their employer. And because some of your candidates may very well come from out of state, we want to give them time to arrange for travel. Those are the steps. Totally willing to go through in more detail. And do you have any other questions for me?
You have a price not to exceed 10. Now, if we ask for an additional meeting, is there a flat rate that you would charge for that over and above the 10? We have used up our allotted.
Yeah, it's a not to exceed, so you can get to 10.
Yeah.
If we go in a totally different direction and we'll have to sit down and negotiate what that looks like.
Okay.
The first piece off it is my mileage. It's an hour and a half. I don't know what that is right now. But it really sort of depends on what that meeting is. If it's a third brainstorming session with a specific group of people, oftentimes when we do stakeholder input, we look at your boards and your commissions and your business community, DBA, those kind of things. I can go back, take a look at some of the other processes that we've done and see what that would add to it. But if you come up with something else you think you'd like to add, let me know. One of the things that a lot of folks do is have an open house the night before interviews. Let the public come and sort of scope out who's going to show up the next day for interviews. Increases your sort of the feeling of the public's input. Certainly, what I generally suggest in those instances is that council people sort of position themselves around the room, watch for the interaction, take feedback from the citizens. That takes a little bit of time to organize. If you have us help with it, it's a price. Or you can sort of look at doing it yourself. There are just some state cards you want to be careful of. So you don't stray into territory you shouldn't be in. I would suggest in any instance that particularly for people who don't know Cedar Springs, that the employees have an opportunity to help those candidates tour around the city, look at the facilities, look at City Hall, look at the fire hall, police station, wastewater treatment plant, whatever facilities are important to the candidates that you want to guys to talk with. Did you talk about that, and you need to call Mr. Mayor and check that out?
I know on one other incident on past managers, after the interview with the council, then he drove them around to look at the facility. So
That works too. There are if more than 3 of you are in the car, it's a meeting.
Yep.
Right? If you're leading to a decision, it could be a meeting.
We want to steer from that. That won't happen.
And even if you're just chatting in the car, there are certain places you cannot go. One of the things, I'm very careful, and I will wrap my arms around you no one that I have ever worked with and no one that we have worked with has ever been sued for discrimination, favoritism, violation of the Veterans Preference Act. So I'm very cautious, and I will talk to you all the way through the system about what you can do, what you can't do, how you get to what you need to know, and what it is you don't and can. So, I know that people do that, and it can be very helpful to get an informal feeling on those candidates. You just have to stay with the same guidelines that you would stay with if you were in public. Too much? Was it too much?
It wasn't too much, I'm just glad to have your guidance.
Okay,
I have a question for you. Can anyone who knows that we're in the process of looking for a new city manager submit an application to the MLL?
Absolutely. When we prepare all of our outreach materials, our brochure and our ads, we will also send a copy of that, email a copy of it to Linda. By the way, I need an in-house point person. Like, she doesn't have enough to do. I'm sorry. You can delegate it to anyone. But you should then put that up on your website. I wouldn't stick it back in your employment thing, but put it right on your front page so that everybody can see you're looking. But folks who are professionals in local government, whether they're managers today or community development directors today, if they are looking for those positions, they know to go to MML and look there. And the other thing that we will do is, depending on the skill set that you come up with, if your number one thing is finances, for instance, we may also very well advertise with the Government Officials Association of America. If you are interested in zoning and planning expertise, we may look to the American Society of ACIP. The end of it is planners. I don't remember all of them. But there are other professional associations that are wrapped up in local government management that would do that too as well.
broad field, broad coverage.
Right.
Okay,
Lots of skill sets.
I'm sorry?
A lot of different skill sets, depending what your focus is.
Right.
well, the school they can drop on this much larger than we can think of. Any other questions? Yes, Pat?
I have another question for you. Is it pretty typical to offer only 2 candidates for interview process?
I never look at numbers. I have been involved in searches where we got 30 resumes, but once the screening was done, only 5 came to the top. And council wanted to interview all 5. I have been in searches with a very interesting council who said, I'm only willing to interview for 40 hours. So I don't care how many people, that's as long as I'm willing to sit.
I think we're gonna be pretty flexible.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
I think that there is always a smaller group, and that's one of the reasons you use a screener, so that people that you really shouldn't spend or wouldn't need to spend a lot of time reviewing, we sort of take out of your package early on.
How many did we do last year? 5? 6?
We all sent.
It was
You didn't do 7.
7. Wow. Okay.
Which numbers are.
just, but I was just trying to figure out where the 3 came from, because I don't think we advocated 3. So I was confused.
I try to keep, and we'll work that all through, that my, sort of go-to, I try to keep your interview questions at about somewhere between 22 and 26. Here's our, the focus groups that we have done show us that people can generally answer a question in somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes. And if I put someone in front of you for more than an hour and 15 minutes, you can't keep track of them any longer. So I really try to schedule interviews at about an hour and a half of each, giving you high breaks in each group. So 5 will take you all day.
Yeah, well, 7. I would say, I thought we did 2 days.
We'll see where it comes out, by the number of candidates that rise to the top.
And when we did school board, it was, we did
Many days.
5.
I'm going to do my very best to try to keep you in one day, because my personal belief is that if you stretch it out too long, it becomes very difficult for you to remember nuances of differences between one person and another.
Yeah.
And we have video now, so
You can't review it.
Well, but it may be a closed session, and I don't think.
Not the interview. The interview has to
Oh,
be
not the
open.
interview, okay.
Just had to have it.
Legally, it has to be open.
So, any other questions in this group here? I guess this will be your last chance, audience.
We can't email?
No.
No?
Pen.
I think that the next thing for us is for you to debate whether or not it makes sense for you to hire the lead. If it does, you move to a vote on the last page of the proposal, Mr. Mayor, that's where the signature line.
Yep, I see that.
All you have to do is get to that, authorize the mayor to execute the motion. Sir?
So if we have questions, assuming we do hire them now, do we need to go through the mayor to you? How do we make that continued contact?
Well, as an old city manager, what I would tell you is that you should feel free to ask me a question, and then if I provide an answer, I provide it to everyone.
Perfect.
Nice.
I would have an open door where any questions you would address to this good thing.
And, I just
But I
thought
can't
out
answer.
the fact that I locked my business cards in my car. Would you like my phone number? I bet it's on the proposal, is it on the proposal?
Probably before we leave, we'll give you a list of all of our email addresses also.
Yeah, I don't, the phone number's there, but we can get it, or, yeah, we can give you ours. It's fine.
Okay,
It's been there.
I hear no further discussion on this discussion.
Go ahead.
you don't need to call yourself an old city manager, just call yourself a former city manager.
Thank you, Mayor.
Just a little experience.
Season? You think that's good?
Experience.
I've enjoyed being here. If there's anything else you need from me, I am easily accessible, either through my cell or email. So thank you very much for taking time to talk to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item B, motion to contract with the Michigan Municipal League for the purpose of conducting a search for a new city manager.
Mayor, motion to contract with Michigan Municipal League for the purpose of conducting searches of the city manager.
Support. Second. And then I'll train them.
Who'd you get the second there, Linda?
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion on the floor? Hearing none, make a roll call vote. Mr. Clark?
Yes?
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes?
Mrs. Conley?
Yes.
Mr. Hall votes yes, motion carries. Have it right here.
May I? May I approach?
You may.
I'm so sorry. There's probably one more thing I should leave you with, and that is, it would be a good idea then, for you to begin to look at your calendars. It would be a good idea if I could do the brainstorming session with the staff and the council on the same day. I would never suggest that we do this after a regular meeting because you're already too burned out. But if it works for you, we could do it before a meeting. So you just need to sort of, I don't know if we use doodle polling or anything here to set your
Thursday.
Our council meeting will be the 10th
of
December.
too fast.
Right. Now,
I
I have,
need to move into January. I've got 5 communities right now, a couple of them I gotta dump on.
let us know what date works for you.
All right?
So we basically need Thursday.
Well, right, I can, for my sake, I know I was the one that was very restricted. After the 11th of this month, I don't have school again until the 11th of January. So between then, those 2 dates, I can do any Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And I will work it out to be there.
Why don't you guys, talk among yourselves or do whatever kind of calendar polling you do, and come up with a couple of dates and I'll try to move them in.
The month of January.
Yeah,
What's
good.
off the record, or if you have an idea, email me and I can send it to all of them,
I can do that.
or vice versa to our point person. These are the dates you have available,
Okay.
and then that might be easier to fix.
I think too, by waiting and start in January, there were a lot of city elections in the fall, so they're making more people go into.
And that-
Thank you very much.
Did you want this copy or present, or?
You can just
Or just
scan
sign
it and
another
email
one.
it to us. I can do that.
I got another one here I can sign for the record, too, if you would.
So are we going ahead and posting it? Do we need to get that to Linda to put on the website?
For what?
The job? You were saying she should put a link on the website.
Oh, not yet.
Oh,
You haven't gotten anywhere near that.
Got it. Okay.
Thanks.
Drive carefully.
I will, sir.
You want me to give one of these to her? You want me to give one of these to her?
She said I'll scan it and send it into her. I'll scan
Okay.
it, email addresses and send those to her.
Perfect.
My computer died, of course. Okay, at this time, item number 7. Is there any other business to be brought before this council?
I just have one comment. Due to a prior commitment, I will be unable to attend January city council meeting. Just wanted to make the council aware of that at this time.
Okay, thank you. Just thought we should have made it clear for me. No other business brought before the council. Council comments, Mr. Parks.
None this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Powell.
I was just gonna ask Dave about the break-ins in the cars, and we increased any kind of, surveillance in the parking corner?
Sergeant Kelly's been wonderful. I've been communicating with him on a regular basis. I know they are trying to go by there, but there's literally no lights and they see lights coming. So, I mean, they, it could be kids, who knows? But at this point, they're unexplained. They filed police reports, so we do have a record of them. And I think there's one that may still have to file a report yet, but, we're trying to do our part. For now, I've encouraged them to park in the DNR lot because it's lit, even though we've always told them to avoid that lot, but for safety reasons, that's what we did.
Good.
So,
I thought there was a lot of cars down there, like, in this weather.
well, since the second set happens, we just said that's what we're doing, so. Safety first, so.
I was happy to hear from Ms. Gale tonight. I hope it all, it's all for all of us. Good city manager, 120 days, I know it's a long spell in there, but hang in there.
Ms. Collins?
I'm just really appreciative of the legwork that the mayor has put in on this. He has put in a lot of hours with the MML folks on the phone this week, and much of this and that and what have you
Unlimited talk, okay.
put together, so I'm very thankful that our mayor is making that all happen.
Thank you. No problem.
Well, I'm going to also what she's saying about, thank you for taking care of all that. All the rest of us have daily things we have to do too, and somebody's taking care of it for us.
I'm retired out of
And we got, day after tomorrow, Santa comes to town.
Yep.
And
I'm sorry I won't be there.
we got a little bit of a, some people are not very happy about the idea that council wants us to close down Main Street during it. We've never had an issue before. I'm like, well, Sergeant Kelly says it'd be okay to just do it the way we had planned, and the police, or the fire chief thinks it's overkill to close it down too, but what do we know? So council wants us to close it, we'll close it, I guess.
Any other? Mrs. Nixon?
Well, with the rest of them, thank you for doing this for us. I think that overwhelmingly the community decided this is the direction they want to go, and I'm excited to get started.
Great. Thank you. That streetlight, Tom, is that ours or consumers? We don't know yet.
It's consumer.
Great. They'll take care of it. Hopefully we can get it relit. They're pretty good about that. Probably pretty outdated.
I turned in 7 of them last week.
Yeah. 'Tis the season. I too, I have talked with MML at least several times, Mr. Singer, and I think they were the only way to go, and that's where we were headed, and now we are. The holidays are basically slowing us down to get the ads in sooner. We get them in now, nobody will look at them, so we're on the way. And any other comments or people wishing to add anything they think of about our profile or attributes for our future new manager, by all means, let us know. And everyone, we have a meeting next Thursday. We have the tree lighting Saturday evening starting at about 4:30. I hope everyone comes there, and we stand adjourned.
Was the council planning on the December 17th for Solon Township? Because I've only heard from the two of you. I need to let
I
you
must
know.
miss that.
Me too.
What day
Yeah,
is
Christmas function that day.
It's a Thursday.
Thursday,
Sure,
I can do that.
I can do that. Let me put you in my...
7.
What time on the 17th?
At 7? At 7?
There, here.
There or here?
Oh,
Probably out there.
Okay.
Solon Hall.
Okay. Meeting.
So you'll have that posted over legal? Thank you.